Hello and welcome to the first edition of the Dysentery Podcast. I'm Alex Fry. Joining me will be Strack and Evan. And I cut off about the first 5 minutes, I want to say, of this podcast. I apologize. It started a little bit late, but you wouldn't really miss anything. And yep, we're gonna be doing these about weekly. I'm planning on, and rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.
He's outside right now. I know for a fact there are people in Hebron right now who do not have heat. Would like maybe lighting a fire or something because they do not have enough money because they got taxed. If that $100 that went to
would, but unlogical people that
then that's on them. That's their problem.
Strack, the one thing that will snap you back into reality is if you're so poor, the government has to pay you money to stay alive.
No, dude, come on.
What do you mean, come on? Are you fucking kidding me?
Cadillacs with $30,000 rims. How are you telling me that the people don't love to be poor?
Who's a poor person with a Cadillac with $33? What the fuck are you talking
Who
about?
is happy to be poor? Who has ever gone out and been like, wow, I'm glad I'm poor today? No, no one has done that. Everyone who's ever been poor has been like, I need to make
I don't
money.
know how you can think this way, but if you're so poor that you can't put food on the table for your wife and 2 kids, you're not going to go out and buy a Cadillac. That's not something you're going to do.
There is people without common sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe
Strack,
one
let's
out of
understand
every
that.
1,000.
This is what you're saying. That people are so stupid that they cannot afford money, food for their family or anything like that.
On a
so
certain
they go
level,
out and
actually,
buy
on
a
a certain
car.
level, I do agree with you, because that way all the dumb people would die, alright? But other than that, no, I'm
If all
sorry.
the dumb people die, then that's better for America. Right there. We win.
I can't tell you how many times my stepdad has come from his job, come home and say, yeah, I was stopping at the store and I saw somebody using food stamps, and when they left the parking lot, they were driving a Cadillac, a $70,000 vehicle. How does this make sense?
That is on them then.
Yeah,
If they do not have enough money for food, but they want to go out and buy an expensive car, sure, why not? Let them. If they want to starve every other night, but have a nice car, and that's good on their conscience, fine. Let them do that. But for most of the people who are going to go out and spend that money the right way, that's for them.
So shouldn't you tax the people that are responsible?
No, you just
Strack, the rich
who's
people,
responsible and who's not.
the
If
rich people
anyone-
are probably the least responsible people on the earth because they have so much fucking money. They just waste it willy-nilly because it's no big on them.
Right there.
So you're saying billion people that make a lot of money don't know how to spend their money responsibly.
No.
Yes.
What they have
Yes,
died
that is
for
no,
once
that
in
is
their
exactly
life.
what I am saying. Yes,
That's
thank you.
what
That is
we've been
exactly
saying,
what
that
I am saying.
The richer you are, the more stupid you spend your money.
I don't agree with that because there's people out there that are very intelligent and earn their money.
Okay, Bill Gates is a perfect example right
Bill
this.
Gates, okay?
No, hang on.
Bill Gates has an underground secret lair in his house in fucking Colorado or whatever, alright? If that isn't a waste of money, I don't know what is.
No, Bill Gates gives his money to like charity and stuff. He's a smart person spending his money in the right way. If you look at Paris Hilton, she's a dumb person spending her money in the wrong way, and she should be taxed and have less money so she's not as stupid.
Anybody or tax everybody equally.
Yes, tax everybody equally.
Based on their income. You can't tax a homeless person the same as you tax Donald Trump. It does not work that way. I'm sorry, Strack. It really does not work that way.
He's an idiot about how people should be taxed right now.
I think okay, let's just lay a base down. This is not what I'm saying. This is not what I'm saying should happen. But this is what I feel. 1% of your paycheck should go to taxes. Just how about that?
That's it.
If you are poor.
1%
is that what
of
you're saying?
$7.25.
Strack, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? All right, I said this number doesn't. I just said this. Strack, I just said this number doesn't matter. I'm just making it up. 1% of your paycheck for everybody. That's everybody. All right, let's raise it up. Okay, how about this? 5% of your paycheck goes to taxes. All right, 5% of it, everybody. So now that can either be 50 cents or $5 million.
Do you see what we're saying? That is actually, yes, that is a perfect example.
That's what I'm saying. I just.
No, that's not what you're saying. That is not what you're saying.
We're not saying that. We are saying the poor should be taxed less and the rich should be taxed more. That's what we are saying.
But then you just said you're taxing everybody 5%.
No, he gave that as an example of how stupid just sounds.
Taxing everybody 5% sounds dumb.
Strack, you're not getting the part of where I said I just pulled that number out of my ass. I said that before for the specific reason that you wouldn't yell at me for giving a stupid percent.
Then you should be being taxed more. You should be paying like maybe half of your paycheck or something.
Yeah, if you're talking about the same tax for everybody, it's going to come out to less for people who make less. That's how it works.
Yes.
Yes, and
Exactly.
Yes, the poor will
So
suffer
I'm saying,
and the rich will
you're saying,
benefit.
but you're saying, when you say to me, when you say tax the the poor less, you're taxing them less, is in the sense they have a lesser percentage. What happens now? That's what happens. The rich will have a 15% tax, as the poor will only have a 10% tax.
Yes.
It works. That shouldn't be like that.
Yes, it
Everybody
should.
tax the same.
No, why? Give me a good. Hang on.
Else.
Shut up and I'm going to hear strike. What reason is that? Give me a good reason why if you make maybe $100 a month, and if you make $50 million a month, why you should be taxed the same? Give me a good reason.
First of all, I don't think you're entitled to other people's money. Second of all, that's why. You're not entitled to other people's wealth just because they did something right. Doesn't mean that they have to fix your wrongs.
No, Strack, we live in a democratic republic where we are supposed to support each other, all right? That is why our money does go to other people. That's why our money does belong to the government.
The government should support you if you need the help.
Yes.
Not steal from the rich and give to the poor.
That is Robin Hood, and Robin Hood is a good guy.
So the government's job is not to give people fucking money because they don't know how to budget their money. It's about to give them.
Poor people are
Strack,
not poor because
Strack,
they
listen,
don't know
listen,
how to
listen.
budget their money. Poor
Listen.
people poor.
Some poor, okay, let's say some poor 16-year-old girl who's a prostitute because her mother was a crack addict. She's poor, not because she doesn't know how to manage her money. She's poor because she was born into that life.
Okay, then she.
There has been instances, but most poor people are not poor because they've wasted all their money. It's not some comedy show where they get rich and then they become poor, like Family Guy or something. Most poor people are poor. They either become poor because they have like an addiction of some kind and they spend all their money on that, or because they were born into it.
I think you're stereotyping poor people.
No, I am not.
Fuck off, Jack. Honestly, fuck off.
That's not true. How can you be so sure that everybody who's poor is officially a crack addict? Maybe
I'm not saying that.
A lot of bad stocks and everything went south for them. And they were at once having.
And I am sure that has happened. And once they lose all their money, they get taxed less.
People don't just end up poor because they started doing crack. They could have other things.
Actually, yes, they do. That is exactly what happens.
That they lost their money.
Okay,
yes,
but Strack,
if that happened, then
let's talk a generation in the future, all right, Strack? Let's just talk a generation in the future. That person's addicted to crack, so they made themselves poor, right? They spent all their money on crack, so now they have no more money. Then they have children. Those children are automatically poor, and it's not their fault at all. They're automatically born without a chance.
Think of it this way: even if you were rich at one point, if you lose all your money because of circumstance, and then now you're poor, right? Now you're taxed less. You have a chance to put your money into something else to get that money back. It's like opportunity. That's democracy at its best. You have opportunity to improve yourself. If you are poor and you keep getting taxed more, you can't improve yourself because all your money is going to taxes and you spend the rest on food. If you can spend some on food and then have extra to try and better your life, good. If bettering your life is buying 1,000 or like, I don't know, random number like a Cadillac or something, and that improves your life, that makes you happier, good. That's what should happen.
So just because you're happy, then it's okay? But
Yes.
Or it's alright?
If you are poor but happy.
I don't know why you hate the poor people so much, Jack.
I don't hate poor people. Those words never came out of my mouth, so where are you getting that statement? I don't understand.
Because you're talking about supporting the rich and then punishing the poor because they're poor.
Like,
You were
first of all, I don't think anybody
Jack, this isn't what you said, but what you are saying, the majority of it is that you should punish the poor because they're poor.
It's not what I
You
said.
should not support the poor because they're poor. That is exactly what you were saying.
I never said
You should support the rich because they are rich, and you shouldn't support the poor because they're poor.
I said everybody should either be treated equally by paying the same tax, the same percentage, or not paying any tax at all.
You know what? I say bullshit to that. I say if there's a 16-year-old girl who's a prostitute because she can't pay for anything else, and that's the life she was born into, and then there's a millionaire sitting on his own private island in the Bahamas somewhere, they should not be treated equally. They should not.
Yes.
They should be
They
given
do not deserve to be treated equally.
Should not be. This is opportunities.
Okay, think of it this way. We are a democracy. Treating everybody equally, that is communism. We fought a 60-year Cold War because we did not like everyone being treated equally. We wanted to see people as different, as like being individuals. So we should treat them as individuals, treat the poor people like they're poor, like we shouldn't be taking their money, and treat the rich people rich because they're rich and they have money to give away.
I don't understand where you get off saying that rich people like to just throw money away.
I'm not saying
Because
they
that's what rich people
to.
like to
No
do.
one,
Strack, look.
That's not what people want to do when they earn money like that.
no rich person is ever going to want to say, I'm going to go just give my money away to the government. They'll say, I'm giving it to charity. They'll say something like that helps their image.
No,
But
honestly, I'm gonna argue what Strack just said directly. I think that is what the majority, not all of them, but the majority of rich people do is exactly that. They have so much money they don't know what to do with it, so they do just throw it away. That's exactly
Charlie, like, you can name off every celebrity who has a ton of money. You can name off, everyone who's ever had a ton of money. They have thrown it away on useless stuff.
But let me go back here. You're saying every single actor, every single director came from a very wealthy family.
No, I'm definitely not saying that. I take a motion pictures class. I researched
their lives and become rich. That's because they were successful. Success is rewarded with wealth.
Well, how can you expect those poor people to become successful if they have no place to start?
To other people.
It's not okay. Think of it this way.
Their job is to live their life, not to give money away. They're not charity. Just because you earn your keep doesn't mean you're a charity all of a sudden.
Okay,
sure. That's how it works.
If you think of it this way, let's say, this is hypothetical, of course. You were born into an incredibly poor family. You worked your way up to the top. Now you're like making more than Bill Gates does or whoever. Now you have a ton of money. Do you just want to keep all that money for yourself, or do you want to go help other people? If you just want to if you want to keep all that money to yourself, you're just a straight up asshole and should go to hell.
Yeah, but again, everybody's different.
If you know that your money taking away.
Actually,
my personal morals tell me that's the right thing to do, but then other people's may tell them that's not what they should do. I'm not everybody, so you got to understand there's a different moral standard that everybody has that you can't judge, you can't tax moral. You know what I'm saying? Actually, yes, you can, because you get tax cuts when you give to charity. But that's besides the point. I'm going to second what Evan said. And if you start at the bottom and work your way to the top, wouldn't you want to see other people at the bottom working their way to the top? Wouldn't you?
That's why. Okay,
wouldn't you want to see that? Wouldn't you want to see other people?
This is something that you can understand personally, and I know you will understand this. Look at, I don't know, Hutch or someone like that on YouTube who is very big. They give back to the community all. Yes. Okay.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly. No. They give back to the community all the time. They always help people out. They're always looking on YouTube, trying to find different people to help out.
Those are very good people.
If there is someone out there who is working hard and a rich person notices that, they'll help them out, wouldn't they?
Yes,
that's what Dr. Dre did to Eminem. That's what rich
somebody
people
like you or I would do, because we are good people. But again, there's other people out there who do not believe.
So you are helping the assholes, not even rich and poor. You're just wanting to help the assholes.
But then you have to define asshole to everybody.
No, Strack, I totally get where you're coming from.
Not asshole.
Listen, Strack, I totally get where you're coming from, and honestly, I'd probably be the same way. If I worked my way from the bottom and got all the way to the top, I wouldn't want anybody touching my money because it's mine.
See?
All right? But what about Donald Trump, who didn't make that money? He inherited it. All right? What about the Kardashians, who didn't make that money? They inherited it. They didn't work a single second of their life, ever.
But somebody in their life did.
Yeah, so?
Yeah, but they didn't.
So then where do you draw the line? So then you can't give inheritance now? You have to tax inheritance to do that.
Okay, Strack, let me put it this way. There's a lot more cases of people being rich than getting rich. All right?
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Okay, think about how many homeless people in New York, your own state. Just in that state, how many homeless people there are. How many people in that state who are homeless right now, whereas we're arguing about this, are sitting begging for money? How many of those guys are going to become rich?
But this falls back onto our previous topic, where we were saying how just because they're homeless and poor doesn't mean they're going to spend their money correctly. Just because they are poor, they may get that lotto ticket that says, "Oh, they won $1,000."
Hang on, my fucking phone's going on. So just pause it, because I want to.
Not everybody does that.
Strack, if there's someone who can't feed themselves and they get money, they're going to buy food, not a Cadillac.
You would be surprised. I want to just be honest.
Honestly, because we live in America, I probably would be surprised at that. But the majority of the people wouldn't. The majority of the people who are poor and get money aren't going to spend it on useless things. You're going to spend it on what they need.
You are saying that, okay, you are starving. You maybe can eat once every 3 days. Suddenly, you have a little bit more money. Most people are not going to go out and buy a car. If they do go out and buy a car, sure, that's on them. If they want to keep starving, and just have a nice car, that's on them. If you're rich and can eat like fine steak every night, and they take a little bit of your money away, you're gonna have a fit, but you're still gonna be sleeping in a nice bed with meal and possibly like security guards watching you and cameras all over your house so you don't get robbed. When hobos fall asleep, or like homeless people fall asleep in the ghetto, they do not have that protection. They will go to sleep worrying someone's gonna break in, worrying someone they might piss off might come and shoot their house up. Something like that. So just think about it like that. Like,
but you have to count.
If you are poor, you are falling asleep with. If you are poor, you're falling asleep with worries. You're falling asleep with all that. If you take a little bit of money away from the rich, all of a sudden, yeah, they might whine about it for a little bit, but after a couple years, they're gonna like just move on. They'll accept like, okay, this is how it is. And the poor people, they'll benefit from it. They won't help. They're not gonna help because they're poor and they can't exactly help a ton of people, but they will benefit from it. They will be able to have more food. You'll bring the poor and the rich gap closer together. What you're saying will keep the poor poor and the rich rich, which is what the 1% will occupy Wall Street and occupy Boston, occupy Hartford, which is what it's all about. The poor and the rich, the gap between them is getting bigger.
I'm not encouraging a gap. I'm encouraging a similarity between two people, between humans.
I know, but they aren't similar at all. They aren't similar.
We should all be entitled to wealth and success. Now, I think that should come not through taking money and then reimbursing it to other people. It should come from giving people more opportunities.
You're
jobs and help.
You are acting like they're giving
money at a problem does not always solve it.
You're acting like they're making every single poor person a millionaire. They're giving them enough money to survive. All right, they're not gonna get big or get rich off that little welfare check they get every month. All right, they're gonna get big and get rich.
Here's a little
the opportunities and the options to earn a living and better themselves.
Yeah, hang on.
Not just throwing money at a problem.
You want to take money away from this guy, while this guy is going to only lose one of his little gold coins. That is what will happen. He will lose one gold coin and he will still fall asleep cuddling his dog. If what you're saying stays the same, which is what it is now.
But okay, let me say this now. So we do tax the rich, right? And we tax the rich and we don't tax the poor.
Yes.
But now, where do you draw the line on subsidies? Do you still give them loopholes if they give to charities?
Yes.
All that sort of stuff?
Yes, obviously
if you
you
give
do.
to charity, you should get tax cuts. You're helping people
So now
anyway.
you're paying less. So now they're paying the
Yes,
same.
because they're helping. Because that money.
It's all going to the same cause. If you give to charity, then that gets cut off your taxes, which would go to the poor, which would go to government spending anyway.
What I'm saying is if...
It's just more specific on where you want your money to go. If you're just lazy and like, okay, I don't care where my money goes, you pay taxes. If you're like, okay, I want to go help the poor people, you give to charity and then you get your tax cuts.
If you're saying that process works, why do we have poor? Why do we have a poor?
Because we are currently taxing the poor and not the rich. That is why.
But I'm saying, but you gotta understand too, like big companies, these huge companies get tax cuts because they give to these charities and stuff, right?
Yes.
Because they find loopholes in these things. Now,
I wouldn't call giving to charity a loophole. Well, some people may use it. Well,
if
some
you
people.
Get taken, if you're rich, you make $100 million a year, and you take $5 million away for taxes. If they suddenly put that $5 million into charity, that's the same thing. You still lose the money either way. You just pick where you lose it to. That's how charity. The charity
my
thing
point is,
we should change the charity system to change it so if you give $3 to charity, you get $3 off whatever tax. If you give $2 million to charity, you get $2 million off your taxes. That's how it should work.
Honestly, I think
sure that's how a tax cut system works right now.
This is how I think it should work. A percentage of your paycheck should be cut off and given to taxes, all right? Given back to the government. And then when you retire, you don't give the taxes anymore, all right? You live off of the taxes that you spent your entire life paying for. So you can retire earlier. Let's say you can retire at 55 and you're going to die at 70. That gives you 15 years to live freely without a job, just live on, all right? But now if you retire at 65 and die at 70, that only gives you 5 years.
So you're basically making you're basically making Social Security part of living, part of your citizenship. Because that's what Social Security is. You pay in Social Security,
yes,
and that's part of your retirement.
Yeah.
You're saying if you pay taxes the government says, okay, we got you got us now, we got you later. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. If you pay to the government now, it'll give back. All right? That is what taxes are for. Taxes is the government giving back to you.
No, well, but your taxes go to other things to do other things and pay politicians and pay police and play different forces.
Yes, because they protect me. The politicians stand up for me. The police protect me. All right? I want my money to go to those places.
Police protect you. Okay.
Okay, you can't fucking do that because the police do protect me.
And
Yeah,
then,
I may do illegal things, but the police protect me.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you may be smoking weed, you might be breaking law, you may be pirating things illegally, but if some guy comes up with you to a shotgun, about to kill you, and they're holding you hostage, who is going to go save you? They don't care if you've been smoking weed, they don't care if you've been selling weed, they will come and help you, and they will deal with what else you've been doing later, but they will help you at that time.
I agree with the police force. I'm all for police. I like the police. Police are nice people.
Nah, man, fuck the police.
And
No.
I'm all for a police force and such. Most of the faggots with fucking sniper rifles.
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, what?
I know, we're getting way off topic here. Back to the tax thing.
But Strax, I want to go back to something you said way before. Is that you don't think anybody should be taxed? Well, how would our government function then? How would our government pay for
Government
things?
functions based on the things you buy. If your incentive is, well, they're not just going to steal my money. They're going to give me something for it.
They're
So
not
if I go and
stealing
say,
your money. The money that you give, okay, they don't just take it and then hold it up and go, look at all this money we stole. They give it back to things like education, to things...
Put it into the military.
they put it into the military, they put it into the police, they put it into the schools.
That's what they do. If they put it into education, for example...
What do you mean if that's what they do? That is what they do. That is exactly what they do.
Strike.
If I know what I'm saying.
You acted like the government's running a huge
that's what they do.
scam.
I know how it works. I don't understand. I'm saying if that's what they do, they put your money, your tax money, into fixing roads and such. Why do I don't know, have fucking shitty roads? If that's what the money goes to, I need to see results. When I'm not taxed based on my income and I'm taxed based on the purchases I make, hey, I want the new Call of Duty. All right, pay an extra $10 because you wanted that, but you keep your taxes from your income. You have to pay a little more for your purchases, but you have that money left over. So you're taxed on your purchases.
Wait, no, we need tax on every... Right now, how it is, I say it works fine. We have... Alright, Shaq, you're saying you have shitty roads. You need to remember, we are fighting 2 wars right now. War is not a cheap thing.
So I don't agree with
And
the
also,
war.
how would those things ever get fixed if you didn't have taxes?
I'm saying they would get fixed because you would pay.
Alright, let's look at me for a second.
And here you go. If you buy local, I go to my local diner. I go to my local convenience store. I'm buying local. Those taxes stay local.
Yes.
So I'm buying things locally, and thus those taxes spent on things bought locally go to my local community.
No,
Great.
Instead of
you can't
being
think of it this way,
dispersed
but
to a federal system.
That's not the way it
that
works, though.
disperse the money
That's
in
not-
ways that I don't agree with.
That's not the way it works.
Wait, think of it this way.
The state
the way-
tax,
even though you might
there's a
have-
reason it's called state tax, Strack, is because it goes to the state. Alright? Federal tax goes to the federal government. That is how it works.
Think of it this way. While you may have shitty roads,
Another idea.
while you may have shitty schools, think about how much shittier it is in Detroit. It's so much shittier there. That's what your federal tax goes to, trying to fix Detroit. Or like,
They
that's
don't
just
do
an
a very
example
good
of trying
job
to
of it
fix-
because it's still shitty.
federal tax goes
My
to something
point
that fixes
is-
something.
That's because there's no state tax in Detroit because everybody's poor.
That's
Yes.
the thing. But my point is, like, you can have taxes, okay, but what do those taxes go to? I need to see something for my money, right? When you buy
The school
something,
that you go to, Strack, the post office that you mail things, the police station that houses the people that protect you, that's what your money goes to. You can actually
it.
physically see it with your eyes.
Okay, every day you go into school and you see a teacher sitting there. You open up a textbook. Well, maybe a shitty textbook. Well, maybe a shitty teacher. They are there because your parents pay taxes, and when you pay taxes, everything you see, the fire truck that goes by, the police officer that searches you for marijuana or something, they are there because of you paying taxes. Every day, no matter if you like it or not, you see something because you pay taxes.
you can pay
If you take that
taxes,
away all of a sudden,
but the quality isn't there. When you have shit for shit,
But that's not even like the state's fault. That's because you have shit teachers.
So Strack. I don't.
Listen.
That goes down to like the Board of Education or something.
You're paying taxes into your state, and you still have shitty roads, and shitty schools, and shitty post offices that may be there, but they still look like shit. And
that's because the people there are poor, and they don't have. No, that's because the people there are poor.
And they get paid shit. Even though they're postal workers. They get paid shitty
wages.
That's
not true, actually. Postal workers get paid a bunch. They can retire at like 50.
Yeah, that's my uncle actually.
When you pay teachers shitty wages, then because teachers don't get paid very well in most states, especially New York. A teacher told me this, an economics teacher, he said, "Do not be a teacher. Right now, the economy's bad." My point again: if you have shitty roads, if you have shitty public schools, if you have shitty things that attract the bad people in this world.
Okay, what you're saying is get rid of the federal tax so people will buy locally. That makes no sense whatsoever. If you get rid of federal tax, I'm going to go to McDonald's because suddenly I don't need to pay taxes on that, but I need to pay taxes on, like, your goods. Like, well, the food might be better. I'm going to go to where I can spend less. If you get rid of state tax, then your schools suffer and that kind of stuff. You get rid of federal tax, then you get rid of defense. You get rid of that kind of stuff. Well, it might be going into sales or stuff. You get rid of I'm going to buy everything federal because it's cheaper. Local stuff is already more expensive than stuff that's processed in a plant or something.
The huge flaw in your philosophy of, like, why should I pay money if I can't see the results is you definitely are not going to see results if you don't pay. Right? The only way you're going to see results is if you pay.
And then you need to go back to the thing. You don't
I can invest my money in things that I want to see fixed. Right? I can invest in I can put my money into a repaving business. You know, I can do that. I can put my money into that, and then when the government
Who has ever spent money, their own personal money, to fix a state road?
That's right, you haven't. But
because no one has, because that's their money. If I have a little extra money, I'm not going to be worrying about other people. I'm going to be worrying about myself.
That's why there's taxes, because without taxes, no one would give to charity. The taxes are mandatory charity, is what that is.
Yes. It helps the government. It helps
the government. Why are we in a recession? Why are we in all this shit?
Because we're in 2 wars.
Because we are lowering the taxes for the rich and not for the poor. That is why we're cutting taxes for the rich. That is why we are where we are right now.
Oh, okay. So if you're entitled to money, if you earn your money, then it's not yours.
Strack, you're acting like every single rich person worked their fingers to the bone to make that million.
I'm saying you can't make a judgment between the two. How can you be sure one did and one did not?
You can't, exactly. So that's why it should be a flat base.
But you just said that before. One's poor because it's
okay, if you have $100 and someone takes away $5, you might be like, oh, why'd you take my $5? It's not going to bust your balls.
You're still going to have $95.
If someone takes $9, you're going to be like, dude, the fuck, why'd you take my $9? I only have $1 left. That is what you're saying. If I have $100 and you take away $5, I'm going to be like, $95, whatever, you took $5, I'm not that mad. If I have $10 and you took $5, dude, the fuck, now I only have $5, I can't buy whatever now.
Exactly.
That is what you're saying. That works. That if you have more money and get taken away the same as someone who has less money, that works. And it doesn't. It makes people who are poor basically suffer.
I'm saying that if people...
You were saying that there shouldn't be any taxes, and I don't know where you get off on that. Everybody has to pay taxes, Strack. That's just the way it works.
Every government...
You should to other people's money. Who are you to tell me that I owe you something? I don't even know.
The government, because they protect you. They put the...
I don't feel with protection. I don't feel like I'm protected.
Okay, then go to some country that doesn't
Then leave to a place that doesn't have taxes. Move to a country that does not have taxes.
Go to a country that doesn't protect you. Who, when you fall asleep at night, you could get in, like, you will get shot or something like that. I'm trying to think.
They don't have taxes, Strack?
Somalia.
Africa.
Okay, yeah, think of Somalia right now. They do not have taxes because there's no organized government and legit gangs run it. If, like, well, I know it's a comedy show. Think about South Park. That's how it's run. Somalia is run by gangs.
By pirates.
There's no centralized government.
But in the sense, too, I'm not even saying there's no taxes whatsoever. Like I said taxes on things you buy. So, in a sense, you're still getting protection. It's not from
I know, so what's the difference, then? What's the difference?
There isn't a difference. It's displacement.
So what the fuck do you care?
But you'll lose money, because now your $60 game, that was now $63, goes up to Probably
but
over $100 because you get paid.
You're seeing sustenance. You're seeing something.
Yeah, I know, but Strack, you know what would happen then? Everybody would look at it and say that that's too expensive. So what they would do is they wouldn't buy anything, and then no one would make any money, and then the government would just fail because there's no money moving anywhere because everything costs like a loaf of bread costs $30.
Everybody's gonna waste their money. Nobody's gonna buy food. Nobody's gonna buy anything. Nobody's gonna buy shoes, clothes, nothing.
People are going to buy as little as possible because it's expensive as fuck.
There is no tax on food because of poor people. Because of poor people, you go to Stop and Shop, and there's no tax on food. That's why there's a no tax week. Because
we wouldn't have. I'm saying, if there was no taxes, you're saying there would still be a poor.
Yes, if there were no taxes, there would still be poor people.
Because who would look out for them?
Everything would be more expensive.
They would get nothing then.
More poor people because everything would be more expensive.
It's a similar thing as taxing them less. They're just taxing none. So wow, now they have more money to spend on.
Because Strack, listen. Because let's say you're buying a $60 game and the tax is $10 on it, okay? So that's $70. A millionaire can pay for that, right? But a poor person cannot because it's harder for them to get that $10, whereas the millionaire can just whip it out of his ass, all right?
That's not.
But it's easier just to take a percentage based on how much you earn because that's how much you can take away because they can still afford the rest of it.
Given people will lie about it, how there are already tax frauds and stuff, given that will happen, it's still like a very, very small percent of people who do tax fraud and stuff. I just thought of that and maybe I should bring it up. Like, while that would be a broken part of it, I would be, like, easier for some drug lord to say, yeah, I make less than $10,000 a year while he's driving around in Cadillacs and stuff. Well, but he's, like, getting money illegally and stuff. Well, that probably would happen. That's still a very small percent of people. I just thought that I needed to bring it up.
I was watching a thing the other day about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump said that 1 in every 100 people in America are millionaires. 1 in every 100. All right. So, I'm gonna Google it right now. Let's see how many people are below the average wealth. All right.
That's the 99%.
13%. So that's 1 out of every 10. All right. 1 in every 100 is a millionaire, and 1 in every 10 is poor. That gap is amazing. That gap is disgusting, actually.
Okay, right? Think of it this way.
So you're saying that gap will be fixed if we just tax the rich more?
Yes.
Yes.
Because it will
the rich people don't need that money, Strack. No one ever, Strack, no one has ever needed $1 billion, all right? No one, for any excuse whatsoever, has ever needed $1 billion to survive. But people do need $100 a month to survive.
My point is that if that was the case, then how come we tax the rich and we still have a poor class? So the system still doesn't work.
No, Strack, you're acting like what I'm saying is in effect right now. That's not true. What you're saying is in effect right now.
Okay, so we tax everybody the same.
No.
Yes, that is what is happening.
Yes, you tax everybody the same based off their paycheck. I think if it was, and let's just pull a random number. Please don't get angry at me. Let's just say we tax 2.5% of that. 2.5% of your paycheck. 2.5% of your paycheck goes to the government. All right, that would be totally fair because then the people that only make $100, then $2.50 would go to the government, and people that make $1 million, $2,500 would go to the government. All right.
Let's look up the actual number here. Let's find it.
It's different for every state.
But then that's a state tax. I'm saying a federal income tax.
Actually, no. Actually, just thinking about that number, like I just said, 1 in every 100 is a millionaire, and 1 in every 10 is below is in the poverty line. That's disgusting.
It is. Okay, and then think about it this way, because we learned about this in English. I'm not sure if your English class did it, Alex. But what happened right before the Great Depression, when, like, pretty sure it was like 5 out of every 10 Americans were out of work or something like that, something ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was because the rich were very rich, the poor are very poor. That is exactly what it is right now. If 1 out of 100 people are rich, and, hang on, what was it? 10 out of 100? Yeah,
1 out of every 10 is poor. 1 out of every 100 is a millionaire. Not even rich, a millionaire.
Shit. There's many factors that figure out how many taxes you actually pay, though. Like being married and being single.
Yes, being married is a huge tax cut.
No, it's not a tax cut. You pay more because you have 2 incomes.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
So you see what I'm saying?
Actually, I think if you have kids, it's a tax cut too.
Yeah, no, you get tax cut for kids because you can't pay for like diapers and stuff, that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's their reasoning why you get tax cut for having kids.
You know who else gets tax cuts? Poor people, because they can't pay for things.
Yeah. And that's how it should work. If I make
because they earned it. I don't know.
You are saying, okay, because you
most of those people, I'm going to say 1 in every 100 of those people actually worked their way up. The other people just got it. The other people just won the lottery. The other people just fucking, their father died, so they inherited all the money. All right.
Okay, and I'm gonna say 1 in every 50 poor people smoked crack and lost all their money and lost their jobs.
No, I'm talking about poor people who are trying to get employed, who are working out, not people who drove themselves from the ground.
And I'm talking about rich people who worked their ass off and got to the top by working hard.
Well, you know what, Strack? It's easier to sort out the poor people trying, the poor people who aren't, because the poor people who aren't trying aren't gonna want the money. They're not gonna be eligible for it. The poor people trying, people will notice them. They'll actually go out and put their name on a list, all right, so that they need welfare, all right. But people who are sucking dick for crack aren't gonna leave the alleyway. All right, but people who are millionaires, someone who inherited their money is gonna go out and say, "Oh no, don't tax me more, tax me any more than I already am." Just like someone who worked their fingers to the bone to get to that point. All right, it's harder to distinguish the millionaires than it is harder to distinguish the poor people. And you know what, Strack? The whole hole in your philosophy is that person that worked his fingers to the bone is still a millionaire. While people are starving on the street, that person is still a millionaire.
I know. This goes back to the thing I said.
A lot of people who are
okay. Well, you
want them to go down. So
you worked your fingers to the bone for a company, right? And you're now living in a nice house and you're eating good every night. If I take maybe $2,000 away from you and you are a millionaire, that is not going to hurt you that much. You're still going to fall asleep in your nice house. You need to think of it at the whole level.
You're saying $2,000. You don't get taxed just $2,000. It doesn't work that way. Then
if you don't get taxed at $2,000, then that rich person is still rich and that poor person is still poor. If you get taxed at $2,000, that rich person is still rich, and that poor person has a little bit more money for food and stuff. He doesn't need to stand outside of the Walmart asking for money from people driving by. He doesn't need to do that because he has a little more money that he can sustain himself on. If I take money away from the rich, they are still going to be rich. It's not like we're going to tax them into the ground where they're not rich anymore. We're going to tax them just a little bit to help out the small guy. It's not like
it's not like we're taking all their money. It's not like we're taking a small percentage, 2.5%.
But if you tax them more, that's less. Well, why do I have to put my money into the economy? Why do I have to make jobs? That's the thing they get back on. Why do I have to put my if I'm
because
trying to help
people are starving on the street, Strack. That's why. That is why.
And if they do not want to help them, then that is...
Yeah, exactly. That's what goes back to what I said before, that taxes are mandatory charity, is that, because if we didn't have to pay taxes, and taxes was an optional thing, no one would fucking pay taxes, and, like, nothing would ever get done, nothing would ever be paid for, ever.
We would be a terrible country. We would not be the #1 country in the world if we did not have taxes, because nothing would get done. We wouldn't have money to spend on food. The school you will go to on Monday would not exist if there were not taxes. Even if you did it just in, just in sales and stuff, I'm still going to buy from the, from the national corporation that isn't local, because it will be cheaper. It's already cheaper to buy from a multinational corporation than multi-state, whatever you want to call it, corporation that is locally. Like people say, buy locally, it helps the economy, because it already does.
Alright, so the average tax rate in Canada looks to be about 13%. That's the median. Alright, that's the median. An average tax rate in America.
Okay, let's say an example of tax computation. Income tax for the year 2011. Single taxpayer, no children, under 65, not blind, taking standard education. $40,000 gross income, minus $5,800 in standard education, minus $3,700 in personal exemption, whatever the fuck that is, equals $30,500 taxable. You're taking all these things off and then taxing. So then you have 8,500 times 10% equals $850 taxation for the first bracket, amount in the second income bracket. There's all these different brackets. They've taxed you $22,000 in taxes. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, so what are you saying? Like,
No,
you're just running off
Who
numbers.
gets
Tell me what
taxed
you're saying.
$22,000?
No, I'm sorry. I think I read this wrong. Let's see. Amount in the second income bracket. Okay, no, it wasn't a taxation. That's what you have left after all these taxes. 22,000 times 15% is $3,300 taxed in the second bracket. Total income tax is $850 plus $3,300 equals $4,150. A 10.375% effective tax. So you're getting taxed $4,000 off of your income, and you only make $40,000.
Yes, and if you made
Yeah,
40,000
that's 1 out
a year,
of
that
10.
would be low.
All right, 40. That actually sounds pretty reasonable. All right, because that's 4,000 when you already have 40. All right.
$4,000 you could have spent on something else.
Yeah, I know, but that
Fine.
$4,000 is going to benefit for you.
What do you mean?
You
What do
need
saying?
like
You're saying
police.
$4,000 is nothing to shake a hat at? You know, you're just gonna it's $4,000. I don't need $4,000.
Yeah, I know, but it's not like they're throwing it out the window that is going to pay for things. All right, that's the
What
part
is it
that
for?
the police
was
Strack.
for
I don't know. It pays for shit. All right.
But it doesn't because there's no results.
Yes, there is. The reason there's not a
What
kid
the
walking
fuck
into
is
your
wrong
school
with
when
you?
they're about to kill you. The reason there is not mass murders on the street. The reason there is order when you wake up in the morning is because of the police. The reason you have a chance of making a job is because of education that your taxes go
It
to.
doesn't pay for education because the education system sucks. If it worked,
No, Strack. All right. I'm sorry to burst your bathtub bubble. Your education system sucks. All right. Ours is totally fine.
Okay, and your education system sucks because there is poor people in your community, so they have less money to give up. If you tax everybody the same, your education system is going to be shit because there's going to be poor people.
All right.
Because no teacher is going to be paid as much at your school than they would at Ram High School.
Listen,
Because our
Strack.
teachers are good.
Strack, listening to what you
Some of them
say.
may be idiots. Some of them may be like Miss Roulette. We have good teachers at our school because they want to work there because they will make money.
Strack.
They are not going to make as much money as they are in the school because your state tax probably goes, or like your local tax even. It probably goes to more like security and stuff because I'm sure there's more crime in your state or like your town than there is in fucking Hebron, Connecticut.
All right, Strack. Based on what I'm understanding you say, I think I must be confused. So I think we should all just explain what we think before we say anything about it. So Strack, please go first. Tell me what you think should happen.
About what?
About taxation. About taxation based on your paycheck and taxation based on what you buy.
My taxation should not be based on how much money I make, but what I spend. So if I was to say, for example, buy a product like a video game or a book or a device, I was to pay for that with my money that I earned, the tax would be on that product, not necessarily the money I have earned. Because I earned that money, I should not give that money away to something that may or may not fix something. That's not how I agree with it. I don't agree that the poor should be taxed more, and I don't agree with I don't agree that we should tax the poor more with more money, take more of their money away, and I don't think you should take the money away from the rich either, because I don't think it always works out. If you follow a trickle-down theory and take the money from the rich and give it to the poor, you can't expect the poor to spend that properly, nor can you expect the rich to earn that money properly. If they earned it through means that by inheritance or something like that, then you have inheritance taxes and such like that. But just because they worked their ass off and earned that money doesn't mean they should be taxed more. Now, again, trickle-down theory doesn't always work. You have people that are poor and that do not spend that money properly. You can't pick and choose. So, in my sense, you're taxed on what you pay for, on the things you buy. That way, you're not picking or choosing. You're not taxing anybody more or less. You're taxing what you purchase. That's the way it works. If you buy locally, there's less of a tax, and that money goes to your local system, your small community. If you buy for things that are corporate fund, if you pay for things that are made by corporations, the tax is a little higher. That is my theory. Continue.
All right, Evan. So you tell your perfect tax plan.
You tax people on how much money they make. So if you make, say, $40,000 a year, this is random numbers, so don't criticize me on this. But you make $40,000 a year, you get taxed 4%. You make $1 million a year, you get taxed 10%. Make $10,000 a year or less, you don't get taxed at all because you need that money. You don't, because if you are rich and you are, like, this is like what I've been saying all along. If you are rich, you do not need that money. Like, you just basically throw it away on stupid stuff. If you are poor, you do need that money. That's my perfect tax plan.
Alright.
You keep all the sales tax and stuff as it is, but you tax the rich more, you tax the poor less or none, because they need that money to survive. If they go out and spend it on stupid stuff, that's their problem. But they have the money, that it's there. Okay, you go.
Alright, now this is mine. We put a flat rate. Would you say the average was 10%? We put a flat rate. We put a flat tax rate. Alright? Let's just say 10% because that was about the average in Canada. Alright? So it's 10% of your paycheck goes to the government. Alright? So that means someone who makes $20,000 a year, 10% of that, which is $2,000, that would go to the government. And then someone who makes $5 million, or let's just make it easy, someone who makes $1 million a year, then what is that, like $20,000, right?
Well, 10% of $1 million, that's...
Oh, sorry, 100,000, sorry. Fucking, what am I talking about? $100,000, okay? Now, that is an even amount based on how much you earn a year, alright? Now, my problem with what you have to say, Strag, is that it's not even for everybody then, alright? So if a poor person wants to buy that game and can't afford a $70 game, but can't afford, let's say, like, and can't afford the extra $10 because they don't make that much, then they can't pay for that. But someone who's rich can. So that's just letting only the rich people have things and the poor people not. That's why you need to tax it off based on what you earn, not on what you buy.
Here's my point. My point is that they should be taxed on things they buy, right? Mm-hmm. But they shouldn't be buying things they do not need. When you have a low income, you need to be given opportunities based on the taxes you paid by buying stuff, and based on the government's procedures of fixing the poor class. The government should be giving you opportunities to make more. You shouldn't be you should be able to entitled to buy what you want. I understand that. Nobody should be singled out if they want that game, they want the new Call of Duty or whatever it is. But you should be purchasing things to better yourself. Hey, my son needs a new pair of shoes because his are ripped, they're tattered, they're not helping him, they're not fitting the bill. So why would I spend the little money that I have on things that I don't really need, on a want, on not something that is going to help me, and spend it on a need? It's basic economics. You don't spend things you don't need, you spend it on things you do need. Food or video games.
Yeah, exactly. Strack, thank you for proving my point that I said earlier, was that no one would do that. But you're saying, how can we trust the poor people to spend our money correctly? No one would spend it incorrectly because they don't have any money.
But you can't leave out the people who would spend it properly given the opportunity. You see what I'm saying?
But they don't have an opportunity because they don't have any money. Alright, their only opportunity is to buy food, alright?
They have more money because they're not taxed directly. You see what I'm saying? They still have that they only make that $20,000, right? So instead of taking that $2,000, they let them keep it. So that instead of that $18,000, they have $20,000. They have that full $20,000. All that money they work for. They have that full money. $2,000 can go a long way. That's a lot of food if you budget yourself. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're taxed on things you buy. The tax comes indirectly.
Yeah, but it's a lot simpler based on every single. It's a lot more simple based on how much you earn. If we tax it just straight out of your paycheck than the things you buy.
And then you need to think of it this way: if you tax on things we buy, I'm pretty sure Alex said this earlier. No one would buy stuff because everything would be more expensive.
Yeah.
But you still need to feed yourself, correct? You still need clothes. You
exactly.
Still need
so you wouldn't buy a fucking Cadillac. You'd buy food.
You have to spend it on things. But you can't pay for a Cadillac. You only make $20,000 a year.
Exactly. If you don't make any money, how are you supposed to pay for a Cadillac?
that you don't deserve a Cadillac at $20,000. You deserve better
But
opportunities.
the one is, if you spend your limited income on a Cadillac, then you are an idiot.
That's what I'm saying. You shouldn't spend money on shit. You should spend money on bettering your life. Cadillacs do not they make you happy because you have a Cadillac, but they don't make you earn more money. You should be putting that money toward schooling.
And you know what, Strack? They will. That is exactly what they will do.
How can you be positive that everybody who keeps their money
because a sane, responsible person would not buy a Cadillac when they're starving.
In a perfect world, there would be sane and responsible people.
And you know what, Strack? If that person's buying a Cadillac and not food, he's going to be dead soon anyway.
Yeah, I know. That goes back to what I said. It's on them. It's not
and it goes back
anyone else's fault that if they die because of starvation, because they decide to spend their money on a Cadillac, than food. That is not on anyone's conscience. That is only on them.
Which goes back way back to what I said, which is saying all the dumb people would die. Which is, I think, is great. If all the dumb people died in the world,
all the dumb people just died because they're stupid, that's perfectly fine with me. It sounds terrible, but it would make America a better place.
But you see what I'm saying? You look at this on the other side of the spectrum. People who are not taxed and make very good money, they are rich. They make very good money, and they're not taxed. They can spend that on things and buy stuff. So they can buy that Cadillac or 3 or 4 because they have the money.
Yes, what you're talking about is the trickle-down effect, which barely works.
On those things.
The trickle-down effect, while it works for some, if the trickle-down effect did work, we would have a lot less unemployment right now. Because the rich are spending it on stupid stuff, and we still have like a 10% unemployment rate.
Yeah, it's pretty high. You see what I'm saying? The trickle-down doesn't always work.
Yeah, and that's what your entire system is based on, the trickle-down effect. Hoping the rich people would buy stuff, which they will. I'm not saying they won't, but the trickle-down effect doesn't usually work. It doesn't work well enough.
Yeah, you need regulation.
Which is where the mandatory tax comes in. That's the regulation.
Regulation is just taking people's money but not giving back.
It is giving back.
I don't see, Strack. I see exactly where your problem is. You think that you just put your money in an envelope and bye-bye, I'm never going to see that again. You are going to see it. You're going to see it in the workforce. You're going to see it in the police force. You're going to see it in public schools, all right? That's where you're going to see that money again.
Okay. Now, I understand this. This is where it goes. You're right. You are 100% correct. Taxpayer dollars go to paying for police forces, paying for schools, paying for things that the government provides to us for living here. Correct. That's what you're right. You're 100% right. But you can see by watching the news and other things like this, the money is not correctly spent. Schools, for example, in New Jersey, it's approximately the number off the top of my head is about $325,000, including teacher salary per classroom. Yet, the facts are that these kids have 40% on math and English passing rates. So if the money's there and it's being thrown into these systems, but they're not working, how can you justify that? The money is not properly utilized.
Well, then,
is what I'm saying.
Well, then the people, I'm not sure, the word escapes me, but the people who decide where the money goes, that needs to be corrected, not the money that you spend. You're saying that the solution is to just stop spending all along. Why even bother if it's not going to work? But no, you need to fix something that's broken, not leave it alone. Thank you.
I just think direct taxation seems like a very easy method to take the money and put into things that may or may not work.
No. See, you're not doing direct taxation. I'm doing direct taxation because it's going directly from your paycheck to the government.
That's what I don't agree with direct taxation. When you take that money, you put it in something may or may not work. You can't guarantee that money does work for you.
Yeah, but you know what really won't work? No money at all. That's what really won't work.
There is money. You're not understanding. The tax doesn't just disappear. When you pay taxes on things you purchase, computers...
But Strack, that is already there, and is it working? You already pay sales tax on stuff.
You're not, Strack, you're not going to pay $20 for a loaf of bread because the tax on it is $12, all right? You're not...
I never said it. It's that high. You
need to... if you get rid of federal tax altogether, it would need to be that high to support it.
All right.
If $4,000 already is going to the government, then all of a sudden that loaf of bread that was $10 needs to suddenly support $4,000. Do you see? Do you see the huge flaw in your thing right now? $4,000.
Exactly.
And then just
So let's say the average person, and this is just a totally made up number, pays for one cop's salary. All right, one person. All right, all his money went to one cop's salary. If we took all that money away from what he paid from his paycheck, you would need to put that cop's 1 year salary, which is pretty high, into bread, into food, into things that people need.
Well, you're saying that most people do not make near a cop's salary. Okay?
Yes, no, I'm saying, but if that's what your money
makes
did,
about 60, let's just say $60,000 a year. But if a person only made 20,000, where's the other, 40 come from? That's what I'm saying.
It's gonna.
You directly tax it, that money's gonna go towards something. But when you tax by the things you buy, that money's going indirectly. But it's going to be more in the sense that people buy more things than just living, okay? And when you don't give people enough money in the sense of wages, there's not enough money coming out of it anyway, okay? That's what I'm saying. The income thing is it makes sense on some aspects, but when the person doesn't make that much, what's the point? If a person only made $17,000 a year, you're not getting much taxes from them on 10%.
Okay.
That's substantial.
Okay. No, but it is because it's not one person paying that money. It's everybody in the country paying that money.
No, yeah, we're talking. Okay, you're
So
saying that there wouldn't be enough money coming in because of a set tax thing. What we're saying is, if there was what I'm saying at least, if there was a class thing that taxed people on their salary, it would even out in the end because the rich people would get taxed more. That's what I'm saying, basically. Alex is saying that. Wait, Alex, what are you saying? That everyone gets taxed the same?
No, everybody gets taxed the same percentage based on how much they earn, not the same amount.
Yeah, that's more or less what I'm saying. Yeah, based on both. That's basically what I'm saying.
So you're saying,
the average police officer makes $100,000 a year.
That's a lot.
Yes, that is a lot.
And now you need to put that into bread.
Officer though, not like just
deputy.
Yeah, officer.
Alex is controlling the tax rate. What is the percentage that you're taking out of, just a hypothetical one, whether it makes sense or not, that you're taking out of people's wages? Taking 15%, or is it 10%, or is it
10%? 10% for everybody. That way, Bill Gates, who has $50 billion, $5 billion of his goes to taxes because he can afford that. He still has $45 billion. That is more, I think even $1 million.
That is enough to probably, pay every cop in your freaking state enough money.
Yeah.
For, 3 years.
If Bill Gates wanted to, he could bail us out.
Yes.
But, to be honest with you guys, I really think what I've learned here is that the problem lies with the policies. Because when you have a lot of these people that make a lot of money, sure, they're taxed. Even if you are taxed the same percent, you have to figure out if loopholes are still in effect here. Because if they can get away with not paying any of their taxes because they can give all their money away, then you still have a gap. The poor can't give their money as the charity because...
Yes, but what we're saying is the charity thing, already, it's however much money you put into charity, that's how much you get your tax reduction. You're giving your money away anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's not like if you put $2 into charity, you get $4 off of tax.
Yes, exactly.
Because that's what I'm hearing you say. That if you put $2 into charity, you get $4 off your taxes. No, if you put $2 into charity, you get $2 off your taxes.
Saying if you make a donation to an organization that helps the poor, you're getting less taxes.
Yeah.
But if you keep doing that in different areas and spreading your wealth, you may still have $7 million in your bank account, and you're tax free. If you paid all your...
You still lost your money either way, and you still helped people. So it doesn't matter.
But can you be sure that money's going to the right thing? You don't know.
It goes everywhere, not the right thing. Everything is the right thing.
Okay, but if I donate my money to the wildlife conservation, it's not helping the people. It's helping the animals.
Yeah.
So that's your thing. I don't care. we're still saying the rich should give up their money to help people either way. It doesn't matter.
In that sense, you're not helping people. You're helping the
So,
animals.
okay, so go look up an animal cruelty threat on 4chan. You're saying those little dogs with huge gash marks down their head don't need help.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Sure they do. But what I'm also saying is that you're not helping the people in that sense. So you can be tax-free, you may have helped a single fucking person. This trickle-down doesn't always work. So even if they
I'm
do
not
get
talking
the
about
charity,
trickle down. I'm talking about direct deposit.
to somebody else's bank account.
Yes, your bank account to the government. Because that's how the government pays for things with your money. Because without it, and that's how we get paid is from the government.
You're paid the wages by your corporation, by the.
Yes,
Place
I
to
know,
work.
mandated by the government.
Okay, think of it this way. Actually, this is just sort of a fun fact. I'm not sure if it goes in. We'll find out in a minute. But if you live in the same town as the school you work in, you're basically putting money into your own paycheck.
Yes. And the teachers around you. You were helping support the school as a as a body, as a single body, not as an individual person. That's how you got to look at this. You got to look at it as you were helping a single body, not individual people. Right? You were helping the poor, not poor people.
You need to think of yourself.
I'm on the other aspect of this. I don't personally think that if you earn your money, somebody else deserves it. But I also don't think that the poor should not get a cut because they can't afford their bills.
I am agreeing with you completely that if you work hard for your money, someone shouldn't just come up and take it. I see where you're coming with that. But the fact is, we have a government to run. And with a government, you need to help the people you are protecting. So, if you don't like it, go to Somalia, buy yourself a couple guards, and you can live tax-free for the rest of your life. You don't need to worry about anyone taking your money. Don't need to worry about anything. Just go to any African country. Probably some countries in the Middle East. You can just go there, and you don't even need to worry about taxes.
Buy your own private island in international waters, and you don't have to worry about anything, ever.
I know.
And if you can afford that, great. Do you guys want to hear something that might make you angry?
Sure.
I've been recording this whole thing.
Good. This should make a very good podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to start, no offense, I'm going to start my own podcast that I talked about, the Dysentery Podcast.
Okay.
So, introduce yourselves.
Man, have you actually been recording?
Yeah, it's going on for like an hour and 2 minutes now.
When did you start recording?
An hour and 2 minutes ago.
Oh, well. Like, I meant what part in the conversation?
I don't know, it cut off like the first 5 minutes, I want to say, so, yeah. It was 5 minutes before this. Anyway, introduce yourselves.
It's straight. It's good.
It's Evan.
And this is Alex. And you're listening to the Dysentery Podcast. Yay.